Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. November 12, 1989. The San Francisco 49ers, the defending champions of the NFL, are taking on the struggling Atlanta Falcons. The game goes exactly how everyone expects it to. San Francisco dominates on their home field. They outgained the Falcons 515 to 192 in total yardage. They hold the ball for over 36 minutes, and they win the game in convincing fashion, dominating Atlanta by a final score of 45-3. The game showed why the Niners were such a dominant team, and is another example of why that 1989 team has an argument for being the greatest team ever. But we're not here to talk about the 45 points that the 49ers scored. We're here to talk about the 3 that the Falcons did. Because the 3 points that Atlanta scored were so bizarre that when you consider the circumstances behind the field goal, it might be the craziest and most chaotic field goal in the history of the NFL. What if I told you that the man who scored the 3 points was not the team's kicker, but rather the starting quarterback, who had no idea until 30 seconds before the kick that he was going to be lining up for the field goal? This is the absolutely crazy story behind this kick. Before I share the field goal, we need some context as to how we got to this point. We have to understand why on earth the starting quarterback of the Falcons was lining up for a field goal to begin with. In 1988, the Atlanta Falcons were struggling in their kicking game. Greg Davis was the team's starting kicker, and he was struggling, hitting just over 63% of his kicks. Of the 28 qualified kickers in football, Davis ranked just 23rd in field goal percentage that season. Davis would not be on the Falcons to start off 1989, as he would begin the year with the New England Patriots. Atlanta was looking for a significant upgrade at the position, and it seemed like they found it in Paul McFadden. McFadden was a pretty solid kicker for most of his career. In 1984, as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, he led the league in field goals made. In 2 of his first 5 seasons, he finished inside the top 5 of the league in field goal percentage, and his field goal percentage in 1988 as a member of the New York Giants was 73.7%, over 10 percentage points higher than Davis, and ranking inside the top half of the league. McFadden was with the Giants in 1988 after Raul Allegre suffered a groin injury. And while McFadden played well, Bill Parcells decided that he was going to go with Allegre in 1989. When the NFL unveiled its new system of free agency that year, the Giants let McFadden unprotected, and McFadden wound up signing with the Falcons as a result. The move made sense, especially since the Falcons needed the upgrade, and since head coach Marion Campbell knew him well from his days as a head coach in Philadelphia. I made a video about that, which you can check out in the upper right corner. Through the first half of the season, McFadden was fairly solid. The league average on field goal percentage back then was 75%, and McFadden was right on that line. And in week 9, the Falcons took on the Buffalo Bills, and McFadden had a game to remember. He drilled a 54-yard field goal in the second quarter to get the Falcons on the board. Then the fourth quarter, the Falcons trailed 28-27, and McFadden lined up for a 50-yard field goal on the final play of the game. Get this to go through, and you've got the win, starting a 6-2 Buffalo team that's widely regarded as one of the best in the league. And sure enough, the barefoot kicker made it. Anytime you hit 3 field goals in a game, with 2 of them being from 50-plus yards, and 1 of them being the game winner, that is a heck of a game. McFadden was looking to carry that momentum over to Week 10 for their NFC West rivalry game against the San Francisco 49ers. It didn't quite work out that way. On the morning of the game, everything seemed like business as usual. There was nothing out of the ordinary about this. McFadden was the team's kicker and was fully healthy. But as he was warming up on the Candlestick Park grass, he felt something in his thigh. What was initially diagnosed as a right thigh sprain was later revealed to be a torn thigh. No one knows how the injury happened or when during the warm-up it occurred, but as it turns out, that 50-yard game-winning kick against Buffalo would be the last kick that McFadden ever had in his career. Heck of a way to end your career, but obviously an unfortunate ending, considering he still had some great days ahead of him. The Falcons didn't know whether or not McFadden could still kick in the game, especially since the Falcons got the ball to start off the game, meaning that McFadden didn't have to do any kickoff duties at the start to test things out. But the Falcons needed McFadden, because the team literally did not have another kicker on the roster. This isn't a lack of foresight or planning on Atlanta's part. Not many teams carry 2 kickers onto the active game day roster, and the injury happened just minutes before kickoff, so they obviously did not have any time to sign someone. Now in a situation like this, most teams would use their punter. In Atlanta's case, that's Scott Fulhage. However, Fulhage had no kicking experience at all. He didn't kick in college, nor did he kick at all in the NFL. Fulhage was not going to be the emergency kicker. That raises the question, if not Fulhage, then who's going to be the kicker? Starting quarterback Chris Miller. Miller was no stranger to kicking. He made it to the national finals of the punt, pass, and kick competition 4 times between the ages of 8 and 13, and kicked a few extra points in high school. Plus, Miller is one of those guys that's just an all-around athlete and can do about anything. He played minor league baseball, his handicap in golf at the time was 0, and he was really good at basketball growing up as well. Miller was a jack of all trades. However, he literally had not kicked a football since his junior year of high school, which was back in 1981. The last time he kicked a football was 8 years ago. And there's another problem. The Falcons had no idea of the severity of McFadden's injury until it was 4th down, and the Falcons were thinking about lining up for a field goal. McFadden wasn't going out there. Campbell had to burn a timeout and bring Miller over to the sidelines. And just as Miller was ready to take his helmet off and end his shift, Campbell told him, "Surprise, you're kicking the field goal. Even though you haven't kicked in a decade, and even though you had no idea this was about to happen, you're now going to be our kicker for the day." Miller even said after the game, "I didn't know I was going to kick. I didn't know I was hurt until we called timeout." When the teams came back for the timeout, it was time for Miller to attempt an absolutely bizarre field goal. And what happens next is nothing short of crazy.
And that's because Chris Miller's going to try to kick this field goal. Chris Miller is out there to try to attempt this field goal.
So they worked on his shoes, cleaned his cleats, and now Miller, the quarterback, with McFadden out, will attempt the field goal from 25 yards. Scott Case is the holder. It's up. It's not pretty, but it's good. And look at Marion Campbell, the Swamp Fox.
Ugly, but good.
And there's his dad.
Chris Miller's parents came down from Oregon, and they're taking pictures because this is going to be a momentous occasion for the family.
Now, was it a pretty kick? Absolutely not. But 3 points is 3 points. It got the job done, it got the Falcons on the scoreboard, and it definitely got some attention. How often do you see the starting quarterback get a field goal? And what's funny is that on the ensuing kickoff, it was running back Keith Jones who kicked off, and the kickoff was actually not that bad. Granted, it got no hang time, but to make it past the 10-yard line for a running back also just thrust into that position is really impressive. Unfortunately for the Falcons, this would be just about their only highlight of the day, as it got curb stomped 45-3. Miller didn't have a great game, as he didn't throw a touchdown pass and finished with a passer rating of just 65.8 while throwing for under 150 yards. The following week, the Falcons re-signed Greg Davis, hiring an actual kicker instead of relying on Chris Miller the rest of the way. And to no one's surprise, that would be the last time that Chris Miller ever kicked in an NFL game again. He made a pretty solid career for himself in the league, playing 10 seasons and even making it to the Pro Bowl in 1991 as Atlanta's starting quarterback. However, he was a quarterback, not a kicker. Still, for something like this to happen takes an incredibly bizarre set of circumstances that I'm not sure we're ever going to see again. Yes, we'll see kickers get hurt in warm-ups and teams being forced to find an emergency option, but it's usually going to be a punter. I'd be stunned if we see a guy like Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes ever kicking a field goal. Yes, the Falcons got blown out on this day and only put up 3 points. But as far as 3 points go, they might just be the craziest 3 points in NFL history. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed out to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaredGator9 and subscribe to 60-Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters who help get the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. So you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.